make that money flow. Keep the shiny side up wherever we go. Set your own schedule, master of the road. Hauling freedom's cargo, lightening up your load. Tips and tricks for truckers, yeah, we're helping you. From dawn till dusk, we'll see it through. Staying driven hard in it every mile. Hunting gears and wearing a smile. From hustling 60 truckers, yeah, we're helping you. From dawn till dusk, we'll see it through. Staying driven hard in every mile. Hunting gears and wearing a smile. From hustling city streets to the country lane. Driven trucking, we ease the strain. On that line, from sunrise to moonshine. Owner operators, this show's for you. Tune in, get tips, and roll on through. From diesel fumes to mountain views, we'll guide your way. Hauling grit and glory every single day. On the rubber, feel the freedom in every bend. Driven trucking, your best highway friends. Staying driven hard in it every mile. Truckers, yeah, we're helping you. From dawn till dusk, we'll see it through. Staying driven hard in every mile. Hunting gears and wearing a smile. From hustling city streets to the country lane. Driven trucking, we ease the strain. Yeah, the strain. Stay driven.
Good morning. How's it going? I hope you guys are doing well. Sorry about yesterday. Obviously I missed, I'm sure you guys know. And I apologize if I'm just rough, right? I was up half the night the other night, and that's why no stream, no video yesterday. So I apologize, and I apologize for today's lack of energy, so to speak. But I'll be good to go by Monday. Thanks for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Yeah, brain's just not really working this morning. A couple of things. Number one, I guess if you're tuning in the future, if you're watching the replay here, check the comment section. I will have pinned the timestamp of when the weather and the trucking market update actually start, so you can go there. Starting Monday as well, I do plan to switch over to pre-recorded videos. So I will be waking up earlier, and doing that. And I should be able to get those out in a timely manner. It was kind of nice. I don't know if you guys caught the video that I posted this week, released on Wednesday evening, and it, editing that video, just, I don't know, it just kind of fell back into the old days. It was nice. It was like riding a bike, right? So that was nice. It was nice to see, nice to feel that not too much has changed. The Premiere Pro software and just everything is, it's a lot different. And on PC, it's even different. So, but that's okay. That's okay. If you are here, I would appreciate it if you would hit that like button. In return, we'll do a dad joke of the day. I don't know if I'm going to carry that on to the pre-records. I might not. We'll see. We'll see what the timing looks like on the videos, because like I said, I want to keep those 10 to 15 minutes max. But anyway, what animal should you never trust to tell the truth? A lion. Not as good as some of the other ones, but not bad. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. Leave a comment down below. Let me know, where'd you come from, or where you wake. Not where'd you come from. I, that's irrelevant to me. Where'd you wake up this morning? Where are you headed? If there's a lane at the end of this, or if there's a lane where you're curious about what's the average, the last 15-day rate, post that in the comment section. But make sure that you post what type of trailer you got, where you want to start, and where you want to go. All right, that's the stipulations for me to look up a specific lane. Be happy to do that. Good morning, work harder. Good morning, sevenfold. For all you others that are tuning in, thanks for watching. Good morning. Be safe. Keep the shiny side up. All of that being said, let's dive right in. I got to set this up super quick because I just flat forgot. just struggling a bit this morning, but it's okay. This won't take long at all. So boom. There we go. It's not working. Okay, I'm lying. There we go. Sometimes this thing is a little fickle. Alrighty. So diving right in to the weather update. Let's have a look. So we're just going to work our way from west to east. This is just going to make things easier. In the northwest, you got a little bit of rain. Doesn't look like too much. Doesn't look like anything's kind of moving in. Just some rain, which is very normal for the northwest. Pretty much everywhere else west of the Mississippi is pretty dry. But then we've got over here, kind of just surrounding Tennessee, Virginia, stretching all the way to the coast and even dipping halfway into Missouri and Arkansas. You got some heavy rain over there with some severe rain at the South Carolina, North Carolina border. So if you're over there, be careful, plan accordingly. And then, of course, you've got the big bad hurricane. Man, that thing made Category 4 before it actually made landfall over there in Florida. So prayers going out to Florida, because Category 4, that thing was massive. I looked at the radar, and that thing was huge. So going to be a lot of rainfall over there. Yeah, I mean, just don't go that way at all. I mean, you shouldn't be anyway, unless you live there. But yeah, so if you are headed that way, be careful. And kind of looking forward to like the next couple of days, it's just really more of the same. Not much to speak of. So just kind of all stays the same. That one system that's over there, kind of surrounding Virginia and Tennessee, looks to just kind of stay there and work its way a little bit north. So there's going to be some heavy rainfall over there. I don't know if there'll be flooding. I don't know if it's bad enough for that. But be careful. Pay attention to the weather. And just be a good truck driver, right? Just be a good truck driver. All right, so moving in, we're going to start off with the national load counts. I like to start here because this gives us a general idea of what the states are doing. This isn't going to give us exact markets. A good example would be California. Just because there's going to be more loads to trucks over in California doesn't mean the entire state's going to be good. We will look at the actual market breakdown here in a second, and we'll go over that. But Alabama, way above average, way below average, 740 loads into 306 loads out. No bueno. Arkansas, 317 into 217 out. That's also down. Arizona, 612 to 301 out. A lot of freight headed to Arizona and not much leaving. California, 2,029 loads in, 3,268 loads out. So that's above average. It's above average volume. So looking really good over there in California. Why do I do this? I do this so that way you understand when and where you have the negotiating power. I keep seeing comments over and over again. These brokers don't want to budge. These brokers don't want to budge. It's one of those things. If you arm yourself with the right knowledge and you approach it in the right way, they will budge. They will. But they're not going to just budge for anyone if you call up, hey, I just need a bump on this load. Okay, why? If you're able to give them reasons why, they're going to be more likely to budge because they have the exact same information that you do, and they have to get those loads moved. That's part of their job. If it sits there, they don't get paid either. So, that's why I do this, to educate you guys when and where you have the negotiating power, when you don't, when you just need to grab a load and get the heck out of there. California, that's pretty solid. I'm not going to say that every broker out there is going to, give a bump on the rate, but it is more likely than not that you will get a bump on the rate. Is it going to be what you want to run it for? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But and are they going to bump? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But at the same time, if you have a better understanding of what the overall market is doing, you're going to give yourself the best opportunity to make the most money. I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm not guaranteeing that someone's going to bump. But at the same time, you got to give yourself the best opportunity to get that bump. And that's arming yourself with the right knowledge, right? That's why I do this. I know that it's difficult to wake up early and do all this, but that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. Anyway, moving on. Colorado, 383 loads in to 237 out. That's typical Colorado. Connecticut, 117 in to 125 out. It's actually pretty good for Connecticut. DC's got 2 loads headed out of there. Good luck. Delaware, 71 loads in to 35 out. Pretty average, right? Florida's way down, which to no surprise. You got 1,794 loads in to 590 loads out. I mean, they've got a major hurricane headed their way. So, yeah. Georgia, 1,585 loads in to 845 loads out. That's a little bit low on the volume. It's also a little low on the loads in from what we've been seeing. That market over there, just awful. But yeah, they've got some freight, so it's not. Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah. Anyway, Iowa, 344 loads in to 377 loads out. It's a little bit above average, or a little bit above that 50-50 mark. There's a lot of loads in. I think drivers are catching on to the fact that Iowa's been in pretty good shape. That when it's above that, well above that 50-50 mark, that is 100% a state that you can negotiate in. 100%. You can always get more money in Iowa. Idaho, 67 loads in, 239 loads out. Seems to be that Northwest still looking strong. It's been looking strong all week. Illinois, 944 loads in, 1,267 loads out. Has dipped massively since earlier in the week. Not looking strong whatsoever. Not a lot of negotiating power there. Indiana, kind of the same. It's fascinating because a lot of this freight or a lot of this volume seemed to really go away. Where earlier in the week it was looking way healthier, way stronger. So we're really seeing a die off here, and the typical pattern has been the northern part of the United States has come on strong later on in the week. So if you've been tuning into the channel, hopefully you've picked up on that as well. I think I've made it abundantly clear. And if your truck's headed that way, we'll see if that's a good decision or not. Kansas, 291 loads in, 221 loads out. Not great. Kentucky, 445 loads in, 448 loads out. It's kind of held on. It's held on to that 50-50 mark. Not great though. Louisiana, 263 loads in, 220 loads out. I mean, you could get some good Cajun food on the way out, I guess. Massachusetts, sorry. 232 loads in, 238 loads out. Man, I'm struggling this morning. Maryland, 278 loads in, 277 loads out. Not great. Maine, there we go. 46 loads in, 85 loads out. Fascinating. I honestly have no idea if you have negotiating power up there or not. It seems to be that way, but I don't know if they budge. They're probably not used to loads not being moved up there. So that one's interesting. If you are up there, let me know. If you happen to be booking a load today, let me know. I'm fascinated. Michigan, here we go. 451 loads in, 695 loads out. So, also Minnesota, 279 loads in, 499 loads out. So that northern part, that middle area, right? I mean, we're talking about those 3 states, right? Michigan, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. right? We'll get to Wisconsin here in a minute, but I mean, Michigan and Minnesota are healthy later in the week, well above the 50-50 mark. So if you looks to be, if you are headed that way later in the week, you're in good shape. That's all you can ask for. Are they going to budge? Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. But you put yourself, if you're headed that way, you've put yourself in the right position the end of this week, and you've given yourself the best opportunity to make the most money. Missouri, 486 loads in, 460 loads out, below. Mississippi, 256 loads in, 250 loads out. Montana, 69 loads in, 79 loads out. North Carolina, actually okay. 1,101 loads in to 924 loads out. As odd as this may seem, that's strong for North Carolina. For the past couple of months, that's been strong. So, embarrassingly, hopefully you're not stuck over there. North Dakota, 67 loads in, 153 loads out. That has been one of the states where you can absolutely negotiate. 100%. Look at that. There's almost 3 times, 2.5 times the amount of loads leaving as the amount of trucks that are there. That's a no-brainer. And it's been like that consistently. And it's been even worse. It's been up to 4 times. You cannot tell me that there's not negotiating power there. You can't. Nebraska, 181 loads in, 146 loads out. New Hampshire, 61 loads in, 40 loads out. Jersey, what is happening in Jersey? This is weird. 393 loads in and 1,073 loads out. Now that volume's down, right? Where are all the truck drivers? Are they all in Pennsylvania? Not really. That's strange. That is like 50% of the average headed into Jersey right now. You can certainly try to negotiate over there. I don't know. I know you Northeasterners are pretty hard headed. But that's way below average. It seems to be you have negotiating power there, but that market I know is a little bit different, and I'm not 100% familiar with it, so I don't know. New Mexico, 89 loads in, 67 loads out. Nevada, 252 loads in, 339 loads out. Healthy, right? Healthy. New York, 534 loads in, 828 loads out. So, I mean, it's in good shape too. We'll look at Pennsylvania here in a second. We'll kind of see the whole story of the Northeast, or at least that's kind of the main freight areas, right? Ohio, 1,061 loads in, 1,316 loads out. So it's healthy. Not a ton of negotiating power in Ohio. Their rates are usually decent. If you're looking early, if you're looking first thing in the morning, you've probably booked a solid load already. Oklahoma, 384 loads in, 128 loads out. Pretty nasty there. Oregon, Northwest is getting stronger and stronger. You got 163 loads in and 630 loads out. They will start paying up there. They have to. Loads can't just sit there. Shippers start to get irritated when their loads are just sitting there because they're paying. They're paying for those loads. Those loads have to get moved. And the only way to move it is to put more money on it. PA, 1,148 loads in to 1,439 loads out. So that kind of main part of that Northeast right there, shows to be in really good shape. And I don't know, what is it? Is it? What's the driver bust week? I forget. But is that what's going on? Is that where all the truck drivers are at up there in the Northeast? Are they pulling all the truck drivers in and shutting them all down, or at least wanting to? Rhode Island, 35 loads in, 39 loads out. South Carolina, 526 loads in, 772 loads out. You're getting dangerously close to getting absolutely dumped on by rain. So hopefully you can get the heck out of there. But South Carolina is typically the best state over there and still shows to be true. South Dakota, 80 loads in, 63 loads out. That has been holding around that 50-50 mark and even positive to the truck driver lately, or owner operator, excuse me. But not today, not today. So look, some of those guys from South Dakota will bounce. Iowa is a decent way to bounce, but North Dakota is probably the best way. Depends on where you're going, what you're doing. Tennessee, 921 loads in, 591 loads out. That's pretty rough for Tennessee. Texas, 3,479 loads into 1,546 loads out. Good Lord. I don't know. Where do they all go? Where do they get these loads from? And how do they get out of here? There's never any loads. It's crazy. Utah, 239 loads in, 292 loads out. It's okay shape, not great. Virginia, 533 loads in to 550 loads out, right there at that 50-50 mark. Vermont has twice the amount of loads as trucks in, 19 to 42. So that's interesting. Washington, Northwest, strong all the way across the board. 241 loads in to 602 loads out. Very solid. Get that money if you're up there in the Northwest. And if you're in the northern part of the United States, Wisconsin, 405 loads in to 900 loads out, twice the amount of loads. So all three of those states, Michigan, Minnesota, and Wisconsin, you can make money and you can negotiate. Of course, they're going to say no the first time you call them. Of course they are. Why would they just drop their pants and say yes immediately? Right? Ask for the money, hold firm, call on multiple loads, negotiate. It'll work. Promise you. West Virginia, 57 loads in to, oh, come on. 118 loads out. Good shape. And then lastly, Wyoming. It's got some freight. 36 loads in to 71 loads out. Not bad. So the market just kind of overall definitely way down. It doesn't look like there's as many drivers running, unless they're just all sitting, which I doubt. But it's not looking great unless you're in the Northwest or you're in the northern part of the country. I'm just going to scan over these really quickly because trend lines, on Fridays, kind of irrelevant, right? I know I didn't really cover them this week, but we're seeing a bunch of negative numbers. We don't like to see negative numbers. Flatbeds, though, y'all are definitely moving in the right direction, or open deck, I should say. That doesn't just cover flatbed. Even vans are moving in the right direction. These numbers are better than they were. For the open decks, certainly. And then for the reefers, y'all are in rough shape right now. But y'all are seasonal. Y'all aren't sweating it. National spot rates, we're still, vans are down 3 pennies from last month. Flatbeds are down 2 pennies from last month. And reefers are down 2 pennies from last month. So we're seeing an ugly little trend here of just steady down. Steady down. No, not good. And then fuel prices still sitting there at $3.53. Average across the board, across the United States, right? All right, so now moving into the specific markets, where's the actual freight at for these areas that are solid, right? No surprise up there in the Northwest, the Seattle-Portland area, of course, right? But I will say this, sometimes the eastern part of Washington is red, which is fascinating to me because, if you've been up there, that's all like hill country. So I don't know. I've delivered a lot up there, and man, you get off the beaten path up there. That's sometimes you can be without cell service for an hour. Wild. But so as expected, Seattle, Portland, solid. Looking down to California, you've got the San Francisco market is hot, and even kind of the center of in between San Francisco and the LA, that Fresno area, is showing to have some freight. But of course, the majority of the freight's going to be down there in the LA market, which is not a surprise, right? Phoenix the Phoenix market is showing hot. Don't trust it. Never trust Phoenix. Texas is cooling off finally. So this heat map actually matches what we see, and the Dallas market's cooled off. It's cooling off, right? Normally it's all red right there. The Dallas and the Houston market are red, but don't trust that either. I mean, that's why we look at all the numbers. We don't just look at one piece of the number. If you only get a piece of the information, you can screw yourself over. You got to have all of the information. And we know to avoid Texas. If you don't know to avoid Texas right now, unless you live here, I don't know how to help you. The Tennessee area. Hopefully, you're either in Memphis or you're close to Atlanta. I guess, as crazy as that is to say, that's just not where it's at right now. Yeah, and even though South Carolina, this is interesting because even though South Carolina is well above that 50-50 mark, or well above the 50-50 mark, I should say, decently, and North Carolina is below the 50-50 mark decently. This map's showing that the majority of the freight's basically on the border, right? So interesting over there. The Northeast, you've got the northern half of Jersey, pretty typical. And in Pennsylvania, it's actually showing the freight to be in the middle of the state, which I find interesting. Normally it's the eastern part, and it kind of cools off from west to east, right? The Pittsburgh area is usually the first one to cool off, and then the middle is usually the second to cool off, and then the rest of the remaining freight's left over on that Philly side, eastern side. But this is showing that there's still some freight over in Philly. You get to a major metropolis, there's always going to be freight, right? But the majority, the hotter parts of PA are going to be right there in the center, in the northern part of Jersey. And then looking at probably the best area in the United States would be the northern middle part of the states. And if all you looked at was this heat map, you wouldn't know that, right? You wouldn't know what the situation is for freight to trucks, because you'd look at this, you wouldn't see red, so you'd probably avoid it. It helps to have all of the info. Up there in Michigan, the eastern half has the freight. It's surprising that the Detroit area is not hotter. I'm sure it heats up when we have better economies, right? And the car market's doing well, but it's just fascinating to me that the majority of the freight's over in the eastern half. And then in Wisconsin, you got the majority of the freight over on the Great Lakes side. It's not a surprise. Green Bay's over there. And then in Minnesota, it's showing to be around the Minneapolis area. Also, not a surprise, right? And that'll sum it up. Well, let's cover the middle parts. Let's cover the Midwest a little bit better. I mean, Chicago, not looking great. Indiana is going to be the bottom half of the state, as opposed to the top half of the state is where the freight's at. Ohio, just kind of average across the board. And then a little bit of the hotter market in Ohio would be the northeastern part. And then outside of that, everything else looks rough. The western half of the states are really starting to look solid. And I imagine that as we get closer and closer and deeper into winter, that's going to ring true. I mean, I don't know about you. I wasn't crazy about throwing chains, but I did it. I did it because that's where the money was at, right? So can't be scared of chaining up. But that's going to do it. That's going to do it for the trucking market today. Sorry guys, like I said, my brain is just not really having it this morning. I couldn't even find the cursor on the mouse. It was over on this screen and I was looking at it. You don't care. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you so much. Thanks for putting up with me. Once again, as a reminder, I think on Monday I'm gonna try. If if you don't see the stream at 8 a.m., right, or at least scheduled by 8 a.m. Central Time, then very likely I'm still editing that video. It's going to take, it's going to take some time to really hone that in and be able to crank that out at 8 a.m. Because here's the thing, I don't want to start too early because then you don't have enough loads posted over on the West Coast, right? If I start too early. And then, but if I start too late, then it becomes a timing issue as far as editing and actually getting up the update. That being said, where do you? Let me ask you this, if you can answer. Right? Does anybody listen to podcasts? And if you do, where do you listen to them? Right? What platform do you listen to podcasts on? That's going to be the logical next step for what I'm gonna do. I know a lot of drivers can't and shouldn't open up YouTube while they're rolling, to listen to this update. But having a podcast playing, that's not an issue, right? Because all you're doing is listening. So that's the logical next step for this. But I need to know kind of where you guys, I mean, obviously I'm going to do my research and I'm going to go with what's the larger platform, but I am curious, do you watch podcasts, and where, if so, where? Leave that in the comments. And if you could, leave it in the comments after the video updates. That way it's permanent there. This live chat goes away. So yeah, do that. Work harder. What was the coolest thing that you guys got during Driver Appreciation Week? I won, this was my first year, right? My first year Driver Appreciation Week. I'm trying to remember what I won. I do remember the monetary value, which is interesting, but it was because it was $100. But what the heck was it? I know it was not a GPS because I think that was like the coolest prize that the company had. This was when I worked for FFE, by the way. We just happened, we were on Blood Plasma Crew, so we kind of just did our own thing, right? We were pretty separate and from the company, but it just so happened that we were on a run we weren't even supposed to be on. There was a run that started in Dallas and then delivered to Ontario, or City of Industry, actually, California. And so we happened to be sitting there for the giveaway and the barbecue dinner or barbecue lunch and all that. So that was pretty cool. But I can't remember, even as much. I've been trying to ramble so we give myself some time to think, but I don't know. It's not coming to me. Yeah, it was a decent prize though. I was happy to get anything, right? And it was $100, whatever it was, and it was useful. I remember that. Morning, Simperfato. Been listening, talking a lot of Skip on CB Channel 22 lately instead of podcasts. I got you. Well, good on you for, keeping the CB on. And I know that's a rare thing nowadays, which is such a shame because it helped me out so many times. Just knowing where, man, what's the name of them? The police. I forget what. Oh man, I sincerely apologize, guys. My brain's just not working today. So since this is just absolutely not working, I'm tired of apologizing. You're probably tired of hearing it. We're just gonna cut the stream because it's just rough today. You see the eyes? You can see the screen. Anyway, I tell you what. Let's end off. I guess because I'm a couple days behind on dad jokes. Let's do another one, and then we'll cut it. What's the least spoken language in the world? Sign language, of course. And that's a good for a chuckle. Anyway, you guys keep the shiny side up. Hopefully make lots of money this weekend or get lots of rest. Do whatever you got to do. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I really appreciate it. And if you're still hanging on here through all my rambling and all my, you're much appreciated. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. See you on Monday. Oh, and one last thing. If if you do see the stream pop up, it means something went wrong with the editing. So or like I was late or for whatever have you. So I'm not saying that streams are out of the question, but I am going to try to move over to pre-records. Thanks. I appreciate all of you. Have a wonderful weekend.